move. Chainlink and Coinbase, what does that mean for not only Chainlink, but for the crypto industry? Hello, and welcome to Sin City Crypto. My name is David. I'll be one of your co-hosts, and today, like every single weekday, we're coming at you live from our studio in the heart of Las Vegas, Nevada, with our daily live show. This is your first time checking us out. We are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel. We take old, boring, stale, and redundant information. We make it fun and engaging. So to you watching, be engaged. Say stuff in the chat. Like the video. Have fun. Joining me on this fun show today is going to be none other than my friend Forrest. Forrest, how you doing?
What's up?
Man, I'm excited today, bro. Got a good night. Finally, I got 6 hours of sleep last night. Last time I got 6 hours of sleep was probably 6 months ago. So I'm juiced. I'm ready. A lot to talk about today. As I mentioned before, we're going to talk about Chainlink. We're going to talk about DeFi. We're going to talk about Ethereum. We're going to talk about the big Radix upgrade. That was a massive success. What does that mean for DeFi? We're going to talk about that. We're going to look at the markets. We're going to look at oil prices. We're going to look at a very, very interesting new set of glasses that Mark Zuckerberg has put out there. Actually pretty cool, but I do have some worries about it. But what I'm not worried about is our channel sponsors. And the first one being Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you run a business and you want to maximize your networking, your IT, and your cybersecurity, we know how important that is. You want to visit bluewiretech.com or give them a call. They will help you, walk you through everything so you can focus on making money for your business. Also, big day for this channel sponsor, Radix, the top layer one DeFi in our space. As I mentioned before, massive mainnet upgrade from Olympia to Babylon. What does that mean for DeFi? What does that mean for Radix? Will they be a top DeFi contender? They are a sponsor of the channel, so do want to give them a shout out. If you want to learn more about their ecosystem, visit radixdlt.com or click the link in the description of this video. Now, speaking of videos, I want to share this tweet here from Figen. I don't know how you pronounce that, but Figen. Men are the same at all ages.
You
know what Rocco said before we
I can tell.
when he saw that? He said, the kid must be Italian.
Kid is Italian for sure. I can tell you by the neck, the way he goes 360. That's by the way.
I thought you were going to say he's Italian because he went like uses his hands, you know?
Absolutely not. The end doesn't have to do with the neck. You know, that's how that works. They're completely separate one from another.
Fair enough. You know, some things are just genetically programmed into our minds. We can't help ourselves. I'm sorry, ladies. Now let's move on to this. This is pretty funny. So everyone knows Cardi B, right? The musician, rapper. That's her real name.
Belcalis Marlinus Almanzar.
Oh my God! That's funny. I didn't see that. Yeah, that was fun.
And then that's all I got for the funnies. Not a lot of funny stuff today. A lot of it's was kind of redundant, but we did see this. Coinbase was at Capitol Hill, and they rented an armored truck, not filled with money, but it had some statistics on there, and they're in Washington, and they're doing the dirty work that no one wants to do. So big shout out to Coinbase. Love them or hate them. They're helping push regulation, pro-crypto regulation forward here in the U.S., and they're also giving away these. Cold Brew says, wake up, 52 million Americans own crypto. Forrest, let me paint a scenario for you, and I want you to use your imagination, right? Let's say the next election, 2024 at the end, we get an extremely pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin president, which we would assume we'd get pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin people at the SEC, at the CFTC, at the FCC, at the Federal Reserve. What do you think that's going to do to the markets if the biggest capital market in the world, which is the USA, all of a sudden becomes like Hong Kong, Singapore, Dubai, becomes extremely crypto-friendly? What do you foresee, if you can extrapolate, how the markets will react, where crypto will be? What are your just general thoughts if that day comes?
Yeah, I mean, tough to say. That's a pretty open-ended question, but yeah, I mean, it'd be very bullish, right? At the end of the day, we want we want some regulation in crypto, right? I'm not full on like, this person that thinks that like, zero regulation in the crypto industry is the answer. But what we want is to work together with our regulators to have like rules that make sense for crypto, right? In right now, what we're seeing and what we've seen with the SEC and what we've seen with some decisions recently by banks, including JP Morgan and Chase, is putting up barriers to entry into crypto, making it more difficult for US dollars or any other currency, but in the US dollars to flow on chain, to flow into crypto assets, right? If you have a bank account at JP Morgan and they can freeze your account or shut down your account if you send money to an exchange now. The SEC making it very difficult for the average person to invest in crypto without taking some sort of legal risks, making it very, very difficult for institutions to add crypto to their balance sheets and to add crypto into their portfolios. So what we want to see is the exact opposite of what we're seeing right now. We want to see a pro crypto SEC where we get ETFs not only for Bitcoin and Ethereum, but for things like Cardano and Solana and Chainlink and all these other cryptocurrencies that we love to have ETFs for, and make it much easier for your traditional finance to move into crypto. So yeah, I mean, it'd be extremely bullish. Like right now, we are swimming upstream. We are fighting the current. But if that current shifts and we can swim downstream, then you're looking at a lot of upside.
Yeah. Before I give my thoughts, I just want to say that we got 102 viewers and only 42 likes. Guys, help us out, help the channel out, help us grow. Like the video, make sure you're active in the chat. And also, someone asked about Rob. He has been posting updates on our Sin City Crypto 1 Twitter handle. Hopefully, he's coming home today. So, crossing our fingers. So, yeah, there's an update on that. But for me, you mentioned we do need regulation. I 100% agree. I think CeFi needs to be regulated, right? Centralized finance, centralized exchanges. I think we can all agree, even if you're completely against centralization, that has a place in our industry, right? We can't expect everyone. Some people don't want to play in DeFi. They don't have the time. They don't care. They just want to go on an exchange, buy some Bitcoin, buy some Ethereum, hold it or trade it. And they want to do it through a centralized entity. They don't have to worry. They don't want to worry about holding their own keys and moving it here, which is completely fine. We're going to need that if we want the mass adoption that we talk about all the time. And so I think it would be great if we can get some regulation like, hey, you can't trade against your retail investors, or hey, you can't be your own market maker, or hey, you have to segregate customer funds from your own funds, or hey, you need proof of reserves. I don't think anyone can argue that that's a negative thing. Now, the only thing, the issue I have is when they try to pose those regulations onto decentralized finance. That you should let the code regulate itself. That's the whole point. There's no centralized authority, right? The point of failure is the code. And if the code is written properly, there really is no code. Really is no point of failure. And so that is where I'm at. Not sure if you guys agree with me or not, but for those people that say no regulation, no, we're getting regulation. You should want regulation, not in DeFi or decentralized finance, but in centralized finance, like exchanges, like the companies that were operating like Celsius or whatever. So that's just kind of my take on it. Now,
for anyone who,
go ahead, Forrest.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna say, for anyone who's like doesn't want to see regulation, like imagine if Terra Luna or FTX, FTT token made it, permeated into the centralized finance space, and you had like FTT and Terra Luna ETFs. Like you don't want that. You want some regulation here. Things you don't want the scammers and the Ponzi schemes making their way into centralized finance. That is not a good thing. But we want regulation to keep both of those things out of crypto and out of centralized finance. And that's the role I think regulation should have.
Very well said, Forrest. Let's take a look at some macro and the economy, because we know they're very tied together. I have this from the Coinbase letter, one of my favorite macro accounts to follow. Definitely recommend you follow it as well. So they tweeted this: crude oil prices just briefly crossed above $95 for the first time since August of last year. However, this $95 level is even more significant as it is where the U.S. last emptied the majority of their oil reserves. This time around, U.S. reserves are nearly 250 million barrels emptier their lowest since 1983. Therefore, refilling reserves now would be more expensive than what the same reserve sold for a year ago. What do you call it when the US sells high and buys higher? Now, we know why they did this, right? They wanted to provide some relief for people for people at the pump. We're not going to have that anymore. And so last year we all freaked out when gas was, here in Nevada, gas was $5.60, $5.70. That is with the government drawing on their reserves to add that into the market to bring the price down. We're not going to have that this time. So what can gas prices be? And just to simply put it, everything runs on gas. That means your groceries are going to get more expensive. Everything is going to get more expensive, including driving to work is going to get more expensive. And so, Forrest, real quick, I know you talk about this all the time. I don't know if you want to show a chart. Feel free to do so. But what are your thoughts on how this is going to seep into people's everyday lives outside of just spending more money at the pump? And how do you think that's gonna maybe affect our next bull run? Is it gonna delay it? Are people gonna be fed up with what's going on and say, you know what, I'm gonna take money out of this financial instrument or this, and I'm gonna start putting it into a scarce asset like Bitcoin? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so this is basically about a year ago when we were going over the same thing where they were draining the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. This was kind of the nightmare scenario that I outlined. Became a big proponent of hedging, and you can back me up on this. Became a big proponent of hedging with oil, and
you did.
Oil prices went down. They went down to $60 to $70, and it looked like a dumb move to buy oil. As they continue to bleed out. But now that we're above $95, this is the nightmare scenario where, there's no other, there's other things out there that worry me in terms of like causing a major recession or causing, large drawdown. But for me, the key variable that I identified a year ago is oil prices spiking back up while the Strategic Petroleum Reserves are emptied. This is a major problem, and I think this was a very boneheaded, critical mistake by the Biden administration and whoever's decision this ultimately was, and it's the current. It is a political decision, and whether you like it or not. And I try to stay, try not to get too political, but this is a political issue, and I've been saying the biggest thing that you want to see to calm down our economy and get our economy back on track is to keep energy prices low. If you cannot keep energy prices low, the Fed can only do so much to fight inflation. When oil prices are rising year over year, it causes the prices of everything else to rise year over year. It seeps in. I think I've got the Strategic Petroleum. Yeah, I can show you guys another chart. Nothing groundbreaking here that wasn't kind of shown in that tweet. But these are the lowest levels since 1982. And what that tweet is saying is they released these Strategic Petroleum. They released this oil to bring prices back down. But then when oil prices dropped, they didn't refill at cheaper prices. So it's essentially like they sold a bunch of oil thinking they're going to be able to buy it back cheaper. It dropped cheaper and they didn't buy it back cheaper. They're now, if they buy it back now, they would have been better off not releasing it from the Strategic Petroleum Reserve in the first place, because they're buying it back at a more expensive price. And when you add demand in, right, we know you start buying up a bunch of oil to replenish the Strategic Petroleum Reserve at higher prices, it becomes a big problem because you're adding demand in.
Not only that, Forrest, sorry to cut you off, but not only is demand going up, but supply is going down. OPEC since last year, I believe, has cut down 4 million barrels of oil per day in production. They've cut it down. And so, go ahead. Sorry. I know I kind of butted in there. But.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, we do not have an administration that is fossil fuel friendly. And I'm not going to get into, the politics of whether you believe in, climate change or global warming, environmental impacts, but one thing is for certain: you cannot live in this false reality where you get to enjoy low prices on everything and low inflation, and then go and not be fossil fuel friendly. The world still runs on oil, and if you want to see low prices, you want to have a strong economy, you need cheap fossil fuels. It's just a reality of the world that we live in, and so many people don't realize the impacts of not having a fossil fuel friendly administration has on the prices that you pay and your checking account. It is what it is. It's just it's an objective fact, and you can still say, hey, you know what, you can be on either side of the argument still, but I just feel like not a lot of people will recognize the fact for what it is. You need cheap oil if you want cheap prices and low inflation. It just is what it is. Otherwise, we're going to just see, the Fed get caught up in this pickle of having, and the Fed's not innocent in this, right? And they haven't managed things perfectly, but they are fighting a much tougher battle with higher energy prices than they'd be fighting with lower energy prices. And that to me is just an objective fact.
Yeah, Forrest, I think we can both agree that, for us to get another bull market, we need liquidity, right? Not just from institutions, but from retail as well. And so what do you think is more likely? You think it's more likely that everything gets more expensive and people start cutting back and living more paycheck to paycheck? We know people's income, disposable income has dropped, right? Extra money they have after paying bills, which usually goes to stuff like investments, speculative assets. You think that's going to happen and people are just going to have to buckle down? Or do you think that it might be the Fed might not have a choice but to start printing again and start adding back to their balance sheet, and which would drive liquidity to the space?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think what's a lot of people are expecting is for something to break, right? Markets to start crashing, and we're already seeing those cracks form. When you see treasuries, at the bond market, the yield curve is super inverted, oil prices rise. You've got all these different factors. Cracks are beginning to show, and usually when the Fed comes in to backstop and bail out these companies, and there's a lot of the commercial real estate is an absolute mess right now. A lot of so I mean, you look at the two things that are really down right now. It's what a lot of companies, a lot of businesses hold is commercial real estate. After COVID, commercial real estate has crashed, right? The demand for it's just not there as more and more people are working from home. And then you look at what banks have on their balance sheet, and it's a lot of long-term bonds, which are way, way, way down because of what we've seen with rates increasing. So eventually something breaks and the banks need a bailout, or some large companies need a bailout because they've not managed risk appropriately, and then the markets crashed. And then we see the Fed come in and backstop it and start printing money again, and you do get those those periods of economic release, I guess, or economic expansion. So I think we could see a little bit of both. I mean, I think we'll probably see a crash of some sort sooner or later. And I don't know. I'm becoming less and less hopeful of a soft landing. We'll see. But one thing I really do believe, especially in this kind of technological revolution that we've been in for a while, for the last couple of decades, we're seeing again with crypto, blockchain, and AI, is I do think, unfortunately, there's the wealth gap. The net effect of this is that you're going to see the wealth gap widen. I think you're going to see businesses that are able to adopt new technologies and become more scalable and have less overhead due to technological advances. You'll probably see those people and entrepreneurs do really, really well. And find ways to make money and keep up with the losses that we're seeing in spending power. But unfortunately, for some other jobs out there that may not be necessarily extremely scalable, you look at things like nurses, things like teachers, first responders, firemen, those people that are kind of on salaried or paid by the government. I think it's going to be tough for those wage increases to keep up with the market, and you'll probably see a further divide in the wealth gap for some really hardworking American people. And that's just unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, and you're going to be faced with two choices, guys. If you're one of those people, you can either cut back on your spending or you can make more money. I'm always in the camp of find ways to make more money. just to hit on a few things for us. The problem, in my opinion, commercial real estate is not coming back the way it was. More people are working from home with technology, AI. You're going to see more people working from home, controlling these AIs. You don't need to go spend thousands of dollars a month to have an office with computers and everything for people to come to pay electricity. So I think that sector is kind of not coming back to at least to where it was prior to COVID, right? And so that is harming smaller banks because a lot of those loans came from smaller banks. When it comes to larger banks, they're getting screwed on the bonds. You brought up bonds. Here's what you guys got to realize. The secondary market for bonds is what's really, really important. So what these banks do, when you deposit money, they take your deposit, they either lend it out via personal loans, credit card, auto loans, mortgages, or more likely what they do is mortgage-backed securities and long-term bonds, 20-year, 25-year, 30-year, right? And the thing is, if they need liquidity, if either people want to draw on their money and take money out of the bank, or if they need to pay for things like defaults or overhead or capital, they can go to the secondary market, sell those bonds, and get that liquidity. The problem is these bonds were bought 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago at 1%. No one on the secondary market is going to buy your bond at 1% where they can go buy a brand new minted one for 4 or 5%. That is where the crisis comes into play. And we actually have, which leads me to this tweet. So we showed you earlier on Monday what was happening this week. We talked about Jerome Powell speaking and 6 of the Fed presidents talking. One of them was Goolsbee. He said, "I've been pleasantly surprised that monetary tightening did not cause broader financial stability problems." That is absolute horseshit. That is complete bullshit because the Fed opened up a discount window. They pretty much said, hey, if you need the liquidity, sell us your bond. We'll give you the face value of it. You don't have to take a massive L in the secondary market, and we'll hold it until it matures until we can get the full amount that we paid in. So essentially, they're adding money to their balance sheets. They're giving liquidity into the market. And so this is complete BS. This is semantics of how they try to spin it like, oh, no, everything's fine. No, everything's not fine. Everything's not fine, which is why you want information so you can better position yourself and your family to take advantage of these situations and to make sure that you don't get caught up. And then we also have from the same person, if long rates continue increasing, the Fed will have to take account of that as a form of tightening. What you guys are going to understand is when we see the federal interest rate go up, the Fed hike rates, that doesn't affect long-term. It only affects extremely short-term. The long-term takes a longer time horizon to play out as the markets adjust. And so what they're essentially saying here is if long-term rates continue to rise, we're going to take that as tightening and we won't have to raise short-term rates. And so I don't even know the Fed knows what they want to do. They put themselves in a rock and a hard place. And I'm not as smart as people like Jerome Powell are, but they should have foreseen what was going to happen, right? Everything is shut down. People got $1.7 trillion of cash airdropped into their bank accounts without being able to spend it, without being able to travel. And now you open the economy back up. Of course, the supply chains are going to be messed up. Of course, prices are going to go higher. They should have started slowly hiking the interest rates. The banks would have been able to adjust. It's just a crappy situation we're in. And so why do we share this, guys? Macro is important when it comes to Bitcoin and crypto. And so we want you to be as informed as possible so you can make the best decision for your financial future. On a more lighter note, we had this from Mr. Zuckerberg. So these are the new Meta smart glasses. And watch this. This is pretty interesting.
The next generation of Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses. These are the first smart glasses that are built and shipping with Meta AI in them. Starting in the US, you're going to get this state-of-the-art AI that you can interact with hands-free wherever you go. We're going to be issuing a free software update to the glasses that makes them multimodal. So the glasses are going to be able to understand what you're looking at when you ask them questions. So if you want to know what the building is that you're standing in front of, or if you want to translate a sign that's in front of you to know what it's saying, or if you need help fixing this sad leaky faucet, you can basically just talk to Meta AI and look at it, and it'll walk you through it step by step how to do it. We built in one more feature into these smart glasses. You are going to be able to live stream to your friends and followers from your glasses.
Rocco, can I get the pow, 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 pow? Damn it. All right.
Rob, remove it.
Robin. All right.
Everybody is ready to race, and I am getting ready to. Let's go.
Switching to glasses.
Being able to share what you're doing live with your friends and followers while staying completely in the moment is the kind of thing that you can only do on smart glasses. So, all right, these Ray-Ban Meta smart glasses, we're launching them on October 17th, starting at $299, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what you all think of them.
Bro.
The next generation.
Cool. Okay, Forrest, I know Rocco saw it because I showed him, but I asked you about this. You haven't seen it. And I wanted your live reaction. What are your thoughts on this? I think this is freaking cool as hell. There's a few issues I have, and I'll share those in a second here. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, these are really, really cool. Assuming that the heads up display and the user interface for interacting is smooth, without actually trying them on. I don't know how how good it is. On a separate note, I gotta say, this might come off the wrong way, but Mark Zuckerberg might be becoming my favorite evil billionaire of all the evil billionaires out there. There's something about the guy. I know this unpopular decision. There's something about him of all the he is an evil billionaire. He is an evil billionaire. But of all the evil billionaires, I think I like him the most or dislike him the least for whatever reason.
I'm disappointed.
Go Forrest.
Again,
Go
not
Forrest.
saying he's a good person. I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm just saying, of the evil billionaires, he's dropping something cool for once.
Let me guess. The next thing you're going to say is he would beat up Elon Musk in the fight?
Most likely.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I'm betting on Zuckerberg 100. The guy does jujitsu, man. He's actually, and that's one of the reasons why I just
like Elon is such a likable person, though. You don't want to, but okay.
Elon is.
For me, the biggest thing is, of course, spying, right? I saw a few people in the chat said, no, thank you. They're spying. My initial thought was, you're home and, you got a spouse or a girlfriend and they decide to get a little frisky and, and then what? You got to just remember to take your glasses off. I'm just saying, bro.
Hey.
All I'm saying is some things I don't want to be put into a database or a cloud storage for people to see. That's all I'm saying. But I will be buying one of these. I think it's pretty freaking cool to be able to live stream from your glasses, to be able to go to any country that you don't speak the language, read signs, read menus. I don't know the functionality of if you can just prompt it for something without looking at something and just to talk to it, say, hey, how do I say thank you very much in French? And it tells you, or I don't know how that works, but on just what I'm seeing from this video, man, I think that's pretty cool. I do disagree with very disappointed though, Forrest, that you like Zuckerberg. He's a very evil guy.
I didn't say I like him. I said he's my favorite of the evil billionaires. It's a pretty low rung on the ladder. They're all down there, but he's on top.
It is a cool product. And I know I say only $300, and I know to some people $300 is a lot of money. It is to me as well. I'm just saying, compared to what we've seen from Apple and everything, $3,500. The Quest Pro 2s are $2, $3, $4, $5 grand. So yeah,
I can foresee a lot of people live streaming from the restroom because they forgot to take the glass off. I definitely foresee that happening very soon. Somebody, I'm live, and then it goes to the restroom, they forget to take it off.
Yeah.
I can see that.
We're definitely gonna get some good memes out of this. I can promise you that.
For sure.
Crypto Brat said, "Dang, that was Dave's first thought." Sorry, guys. Remember the kid video we showed? Some things are ingrained in our minds. I can't help myself. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the crypto markets and see where prices are. But first, today's crypto market segment is brought to you by iTrust Capital, the leading self-directed crypto IRA company in our industry. So if you plan on hodling crypto, Bitcoin, and precious metals for retirement, and you want to enjoy those gains tax-free, you're going to want to set up a Roth IRA account with iTrust Capital. I've used a link in our description of the video. You will receive a free $100 once you fund your account. Now, crypto is moving. Bitcoin is moving. Let's take a look. Coin market cap shows we are up 3% on the total crypto market cap, now just shy of $1.1 trillion. Volume, though, is only up 9%, not even at 30 billion. Bitcoin dominance has risen. ETH dominance has dropped slightly. Fear and greed index, this should update. It'll still be in fear, in my opinion, but at least I think it'll be in the mid 40s. Currently sitting at 39. Bitcoin, $27,108, up 3.3% over the last 24 hours. Forrest, BTC, the chart, what is it looking like? What are levels you're watching? If we do get a retrace, where are we most likely retracing to? And if we decide to get another pump, where's the next resistance level that we should watch out for?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll cover ETH. Before we do, I do want to show like two brief charts, just kind of to illustrate. You did such a good explanation on bonds and what's going on with banks. So to just kind of further illustrate that with the chart, we've got the S&P regional banking ETF. So these are just banks, right? And you see what the charts look like. From their post-COVID recovery, they're down 47%. And it's because a lot of them have very heavy exposure, and by heavy exposure, you as their customer have heavy exposure to long-term ETFs. And if we go to long 20+ year Treasury bond ETFs, we see that those are down 50%, so about the same amount as the regional banking ETF. And you could even go to the Wells Fargo. You go to some larger banks and Wells Fargo stock. The chart looks somewhat similar. And that's ultimately what Dave was getting at is like you go to get your money out of the bank. If everybody goes at the same time, your money's not necessarily there because it's a hole in their balance sheet to the tune of billions of dollars that are in not worthless but very drawn down, beat up long-term Treasury bonds. So just kind of like add some color to what David was explaining.
Awesome.
So looking at it now, let's zoom in here. We're gonna have to, just because price action moving pretty aggressively. If Trading View would speed up for me. All right, so we're actually seeing a really nice break upward. So we haven't departed from our range yet. You see, and I'll actually zoom out because I do want to start with the 4 hour, just showing you kind of this longer term trend line. So we had our bottom here, $800 Ethereum. We had our second bottom around $1,000 Ethereum, maybe $1,100. Actually, I think it was $1,075. And now we've been dancing on this trend line, and this is where we're wanting to see a hold. We talked about we want to see a recovery of this trend line. It's getting messy. Oftentimes, local bottoms can be messy, and we talked about how it was looking real rough. Ethereum was looking real rough right here. Why? Because if we did not do exactly what we just did and reclaim the trend line and reclaim this zone of support, we were looking at potentially 1,500 or 1,400 the longer we stayed out here if we came up and we held resistance. So we have now reclaimed support, which is very bullish. It's a very good sign. We've held support on this trend line, another good sign. We're kind of moving up to the what I'd refer to as maybe the midpoint of our range here between our two support resistance levels, 1,600 and 1,700. That's our broader range that I'd be looking at for rotation up to the top of. Right. So 1,700 would be our next level to actually look for as resistance. Now, I'm not convinced we're out of the woods yet. We are still in September. We still have not gotten approval on the Bitcoin ETF. We have, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it was a full-on approval. I only saw a headline. It was Van Eck prepares for an Ethereum futures ETF to launch a Ethereum futures ETF. I don't know if that was approved or not. But that may be why Ethereum is leading Bitcoin today. We're seeing some recovery out of the ETH Bitcoin pair, which was pretty beat up. Just looking for the next move up would be 1,700. Not convinced we're out of the woods yet. If you're looking for an entry, you could look for an entry realistically on this trend line. Wouldn't be the craziest thing to look for something in this region between 1,600 and 1,620 if we come back down and you have a pretty tight stop loss there. Below that, maybe around 1,540, 1,550. If you're looking to bid Ethereum now that it has finally shown some strength, right? It has done what we needed it to do. This is kind of we're not out of the woods, but this is a sigh of relief. We didn't want to see it hanging out here much longer, because that would have been just not constructive for the chart. Moving out a little bit, the kind of zone that we could see Ethereum moving back up into to retest, moving into this Bitcoin ETF decision on October 16th. You can see on most of my charts, I have this date marked out because it's very important. The thesis for me has been drifting upwards into this date, especially towards the beginning of October, once we're in a more bullish month, so long as the S&P 500 is not free falling like it was the last couple of days, is just drifting upwards into this region towards October 16th. And then we've got to see whether or not we get that decision. Now, there could be a situation, the government shutdown does complicate matters, could potentially happen on October 1st. I haven't seen any developments on that specifically yet. A lot of times these government shutdowns are avoided at the last second. We'll see if that happens. If it's not avoided, you potentially have the SEC maybe wanting to get some of these decisions out and done and off their books, off their to-do list, so to speak, before a potential government shutdown could cause them to miss deadlines. So if there's any that they plan on approving, maybe they approve them early. If there's any that they plan on delaying, maybe they plan on delaying them early. So we'll see. We could get some interesting few days here going into October. But overall, my thesis is very simply upside, drifting upwards. Slow, choppy upside is probably not going to be a straight shot. It'll probably be a bumpy ride, but slow upside into an ETF decision, with the wild card being maybe we get these ETF decisions earlier, in either direction, right? Delay or approve, earlier than October 16th if the SEC feels like they want to do so earlier. So that's kind of the base case for me for ETH.
Awesome. I do think Gary Gensler has shown that he's willing to drag his feet as long as possible, and so again, probably going to use this as an excuse. Government shutdown. I did see something. They did get a bill. Majority voted, but so I don't know what the next steps are. But we know that House and Senate have to vote on it, approve it, and then the president has to sign it. So who knows? But these guys can't get their stuff together. Our politicians. So big shout out to them. Just kidding. No shout out to you guys. Now, crypto bubbles, everything in the green with the exception of Grand Theft. Gate token. Huh. I'm wondering if this is Gate.io's token. I think it might be. Anyways, that's in the red. Everything else is in the green. Rollbit Compound up 21%. Aave up 9.7%. Real quick for us. Compound or Aave, if you had to pick a winner for DeFi when it comes to like a layer 2 on ETH.
Oh, goodness. They're very, very similar. Aave. I think it's kind of like, XRP versus XLM. They're just going to be very, very correlated. I don't have any specific knowledge on either one. Aave's dropping or has recently dropped their stable coin, which could be interesting. Yeah. So maybe Aave, but I don't have any specific information that makes me super confident in one over the other.
Yeah. I think at that point, you kind of have to look where the liquidity is and where it's going. Anyways, Thorchain up 11%. AVAX is pretty interesting. The chart looks kind of like a rug pull chart. Someone showed the chart. It's like just been going down the entire time. No spikes, but AVAX can be one of those tokens where $9, a 20x, a 25x, maybe even a 30x for a top layer 1. It'll be pretty interesting. AVAX is fast. They're evergreen subnets. They are targeting enterprises and traditional companies. So where will that take them? Who knows? I'm not saying you should invest in it, but something to keep an eye on. Taking a look at the traditional markets real quick, the different sectors we can see over the last week. Energy is the only thing that's valuably in the green, right? Up 3%. Communications, so everything else that's in the green is less than 1%. If we go over, zoom out to the last month, energy is the only one in the green at 4.3%. Going over to the last 3 months, up 13%. Over the last 6 months, energy is up 13%, and over the last year, up 30%. And why would we say energy, guys? That involves and includes oil prices, right? And so we already discussed what happens there. All right, let's move on to some of the biggest news. This is pretty big news. Chainlink CCIP goes live on Coinbase incubated layer 2 base. Chainlink, the leading Oracle service provider, has announced that its cross-chain interoperability protocol, also known as CCIP, is now live on Base in a bid to enable developers on the Ethereum layer 2, which is Base, to have access to the secure and easy-to-use interoperability protocol for building cross-chain applications and services. According to Base creator Jesse Pollock, the launch of CCIP on Base is expected to allow developers to securely build cross-chain applications, letting them experiment further and explore new use cases. So far, Chainlink has successfully incorporated Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, Optimism, and Arbitrum, while Base joins as the 6th addition to this growing roster. Now, why is CCIP so important? Let's take a look here from chainlink.com, or sorry, chain.link. So this kind of just gives you a brief, like what CCIP does, why it's so important. Defense in-depth security powered by Chainlink's industry standard Oracle networks. The CCIP features additional layers of protection via the risk management network and has transfer rate limits. So we see a lot of these bridges and chains get drained. There's transfer limits on there. Some argue it could be bad, but hey, at least if you're going to transfer more than X amount of money, you need to have a cooling off period. I think everyone would be okay with that versus losing millions of dollars. Simplify token transfers, seamlessly scale your user base, and benefit from enhanced token composability by securely transferring tokens across chain in a fraction of time it would take to build a custom solution like a bridge. Reliable transaction execution. Transaction price is quoted on the source chain via a gas-locked fee payment that confirms execution regardless of destination chain gas spikes. Ethereum. Moving on to seamless integration. A single, easy-to-integrate interface makes it easier. Scalable architecture. It's scalable and extendable and future-proof. CCIP will continue to be updated over time to support new blockchains, enhanced functionalities, and additional defense in-depth approaches. Forrest, what are your thoughts on this partnership with Chainlink and Base? Are they going to take over the entire interoperability, cross-chain, cross-payment? I mean, are they going to be like a lot of people pointed to something like Cosmos, Polkadot? Is Chainlink going to be the winner here? And how bullish are you on Chainlink? And just what are your thoughts on this partnership?
Yeah, very bullish. Like I've kind of mentioned in the past. I mean, I think if I had to pick a portfolio, like if I had to pick 2 coins to be in for the next bull market, it's Solana and Chainlink. Those are the two. Those are the two that I personally have the most exposure to. I think a great portfolio looks like Bitcoin, ETH, Chainlink, and Solana. I think that's would fit my thesis. So a lot of people are sitting here trying to like, should I buy Arbitrum? Should I buy Optimism? Should I buy Avalanche? Should I buy Polygon? It's like, or you could get exposure to essentially all of them in a roundabout way, right? The success in aggregate, a reduced risk exposure almost through having Chainlink. Essentially what's the interoperable layer that's going to be helping transact between all of them. Also, Link is going to be like a universal gas token, so you'll be able to like pay gas fees in Chainlink. It's just a lot going on there. I think people are really starting to wake up to the fact that Chainlink is a very, very solid, very, very solid coin, probably very undervalued. So you look at it even right now and the headway that they're making, I think it's kind of wild. And I'm not a Polkadot hater by any means, but you look at DOT valued at 5.2 billion market cap. Whereas, you look at Chainlink down at 4.3 billion. And it's hard for me to justify, Chainlink being, 30% undervalued compared to, it may be more closer to 20% undervalued compared to DOT. So, I think we're going to see Chainlink in the top 10, probably maybe even top 7, top 8 cryptocurrencies out there. I think it's going to be a top contender.
Do you have a market cap you think Chainlink can get to? Remember, ETH got to I think it got to about 400 billion. Cardano was at about 50, 60. Terra Luna was about 60, 70. Is there a number in your mind that you think Chainlink in a bullish scenario can get to as far as market cap?
I mean, yeah, it's tough. There's so many variables that contribute to that, especially whether or not we're in a bull market or bear market, and what comes in the next bull market. But I mean, you look at Dot got up above a 50 billion market cap last bull market. So we're sitting at what 4 billion, 4.2, 4.3 billion for Chainlink right now. I mean, you're looking at if it just gets to where Dot was this past market cycle, you're looking at a 10x, which is just back to where Chainlink was this past market cycle, around that same area, which I think is very, very realistic for Chainlink to go back to all-time highs. But I also think it could move beyond. It could be one of the few coins, and I do say few because I do believe that the vast majority of coins will not move past their all-time highs. It's what we've seen in prior market cycles. You go back to the coins that were big in 2016 and 2017, a lot of them did not make new all-time highs. In fact, the majority of them did not make new all-time highs in 2020 and 2021. But I think that Chainlink is among the coins that can make new all-time highs, move back into price exploration, and has fundamentally improved greatly throughout the last year or two in this bear market. While price has not necessarily been moving up. So yeah, bullish on Chainlink. 50 billion plus, at least.
Damn, bro, that's pretty conservative in my opinion. I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, if total crypto market cap is 5 trillion, right? We topped out at 3. Think we can get to at least 5, more likely 6 to 8. Let's just call it $5 trillion. How much of that do I think Chainlink can garner? And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at 100 billion, 150, 200 billion. I really think, and I mean this, that if we're at a 5, 6, 7 trillion dollar total crypto market cap, with what Chainlink does, with what they're doing, with CCIP, with staking, with the tokenomics, I don't think $200 billion is for a total market cap is out of the question, which I'm doing the math right now. If we divide that by the circulating supply, we're looking at a $333 Chainlink. Does this sound extremely crazy to you, Forrest? Or is there a scenario where you can subscribe to that idea?
It would be one heck of a bull market, and I do think it's not out of the realm of possibility. For me, that is on the high side. I don't know if I'll be holding my Chainlink to $300. I'll probably if we go to $300, to anybody who buys now and sells at 300, you are one diamond-handed Link Marine. I will probably be selling a large portion far before then. If we got to $50 to $100, I'd be very happy with a 10, 20, 25x. But as far as the valuation goes, yes, it's completely possible, especially if we get a bull market. I mean, blockchain tech is inevitable, and I've said for a while, Chainlink is building the infrastructure. I think there's very few safer bets than Chainlink out there. I mean, bullish Chainlink. I can absolutely see it in the top 10. We get a bull market where we go to $5+ trillion in market cap. That's completely realistic. 200 billion, completely realistic.
I want to know what the chat thinks. I said Chainlink can get to $200 billion, which would put it at a price of $333. Do you guys think that's a possibility? Put a 1 for yes, put a 2 for no. If you think I'm crazy, put a 2. If you think I'm onto something, put a 1. I definitely believe Chainlink can get there with everything that they're doing. I do want to give a few shout outs to the chat. So a lot of you have been here before. So big shout out to those of you that continue to tune in every single day, no matter what the price is, no matter what the news is. We appreciate you guys. I got a really good memory. I'll remember all these names when it comes time, when the chat is instead of at 200 people, it's at 20,000 people. And so big shout out to our mods as well. Crypto 420, Alexandra. Also, big shout out to Andrea, and helping us with some research, sending some really good dives and deep dives and breakdowns of tokens and their protocol base layer. So big shout out there. Thank you so much for all the help. Mike Volmer, Cordell Lewis said, no render or quant. That was to you, Forrest. I'm pretty bullish on quant. I don't know much about render. I know it's pretty popular, but I'm pretty bullish on quant. I think it's got a lower supply than Bitcoin does. And then S-Dog, Gary, Meek Vision, Robert, just kind of scrolling up here. Marie, I've seen a lot of, on the ones and twos, seen a lot of twos. I think people think I'm crazy. Hey, hopefully I'm right. We'll see what happens. All right, let's move on to this piece of big news. So I do want to note that Radix is a channel sponsor. Also, shout out to Darren Orange and Tompi. Darren said he's new. Welcome, Darren. And then Tompi said, hi, from Tompi in the UK. Hi, Tompi in the UK. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. All right, Radix, they are a channel sponsor. Do want to put that disclaimer out there. But we are going to talk about the big upgrade that just went live. The Babylon upgrade enters new age for Web3 user and developer experience. Now, what's unique about Radix that we really like is they're actually a layer 1. So you have a lot of DeFi that's built on top of pre-existing layer 1s, like Aave's built on Ethereum, Compound's built on Ethereum. You have Radix that is built from the ground up. So I thought that was pretty unique. Radix Publishing, the creator of the decentralized ledger platform, has announced the successful conclusion of its much-awaited Babylon mainnet update, a pivotal milestone with transformative implications for Web3 and the broader DeFi landscape. This is a quote from their CEO, Pierce Ridyard. With the Radix Babylon upgrade complete, the full stack for DeFi has come together for the first time, ushering in a new beginning for both existing users as well as those who are hesitant to embrace DeFi and Web3. A new ecosystem awaits, an ecosystem where builders can intuitively build and launch powerful and secure dApps, and where our friends, family, and colleagues can confidently use them. There's a few upgrades, one of them being the Radix mobile wallet. That's a pretty big one. You can download it on iOS or on Android. Also, the Radix dashboard, which is a comprehensive tool designed to explore the Radix network. It offers various functionalities such as staking, unstaking, and claiming XRD, which is their native token, from validators. They also have the developer console, which is provided to assist developers in deploying packages to the network. This facilitates the seamless integration of new software components. And so, Forrest, we know how big of an undertaking it is to upgrade and update your mainnet. A lot can go wrong. We saw how long it took for Ethereum to upgrade to, what was their proof of stake chain called? Beacon, the Beacon chain. I know that was more of a fork, but either way, when you're changing things at your base protocol level, it's a pretty big deal. What are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on Radix? And what are your thoughts on them building from scratch a layer 1 versus just picking an Ethereum or an Avalanche or Solana and building a DeFi stack on top of that?
Yeah, so building from scratch is definitely a risk, right? Like there's so many people, which I think is the wrong approach. You see so many people building, and I think this is a point that Pierce talked about when he came on last week. Was you see so many people building on Ethereum just because they've got the most liquidity. There's the most money over there. But it's not necessary. And I say this as somebody who's very bullish on Ethereum and likes Ethereum. For every use case, it is not the best solution, right? We see that from the high gas fees that people have to pay, whether it's in the NFT market or the DeFi market or for other use cases. You see like consumer applications, like if you were trying to build something like StepN, or a consumer grade app, or a game, right? Blockchain gaming, blockchain gaming is just not going to live on layer 1 Ethereum. There's just too much, not enough throughput, and the fees are way too high. So if you strongly believe that there's a better way to do DeFi on a new layer 1, which I do believe that the Radix and their team believes, then I respect that a lot, because it is a big risk to build things from scratch. But it just goes to show, we're still early in this space. There's no what I would refer to as a clear winner yet in terms of what is going to see mass adoption globally. There are some front runners for sure, but Radix has now just entered the space, gone live with their mainnet. I'm really excited to see what I was actually looking on DeFi Llama earlier. I don't think they're listed on there yet, but I'm excited for them to get a DeFi Llama integration because I want to track their TVL. I want to start tracking and watching how much money flows onto their chain, and really hope that a lot of money does for their sake and for just for the token price and everything like that. But very exciting to watch Radix come in and do this.
Yeah, and that was part of the reason that we were receptive to them being a channel sponsor. Is we met their team, we talked to their CEO. They're great people. And you take a look at what would be easier, right? Like Forrest mentioned, definitely be easier to just launch a layer 2, right, code on Ethereum, on Avalanche, versus spending money, spending time, resources, starting from scratch and building from nothing. Takes a lot of balls, man. Takes a lot of balls, takes a lot of money, takes a lot of trust, and it takes a lot of vision. And so that's what Radix is doing. And I love that. I love the fact that they're trying to make it as simple, as intuitive, as interconnected, and breaking the barrier to entry down for people to dabble in the DeFi ecosystem. I think we can all agree here, using a layer 1 versus using a bridge or layer 2 is much more safer and secure. And so if you're thinking about in the future, when we're running things on DeFi, if I can do it on a layer 1 versus doing it on a bridge or locking my money in a bridge or using a layer 2, and all things are equal, I'm going with the layer 1. And so that is the beauty of it. Someone mentioned the Scripto programming language. That is meant to allow developers to easily program and develop on their chain. And so Radix is something that we're excited to see how it blossoms into. Can it be the top DeFi chain? I think it can. If the team continues to grow, if the team continues to build and get the name out there, it's just something new that people aren't used to, right? People are used to a layer 2 running on top of Ethereum, and Ethereum. Everything's Ethereum. There's going to come a time where there's going to be challengers, and we're just excited that Radix is at the forefront of that. And guys, if you want more information on their ecosystem, what they're doing, links, click the link in the description. That way you're not redirected to a scam site. It's radixdlt.com. Definitely recommend you guys check it out, especially if you're into DeFi. And so we're pretty bullish on them. We're also bullish on Cannabis Blue Wire Technology, our channel sponsor. So big shout out to them. If you want to learn how they can help your business, visit bluewiretech.com. And as I already mentioned, Radix, they are a sponsor of this channel. So big shout out to them as well. Also, guys, if you are in Vegas this weekend and you're coming to NFT XLV, we will be there tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday. We got a booth there. We know Crypto Billy's going to be there. We know Crunk C's going to be there. I believe Biomex is going to be here. A few of you are coming. We're excited to hang out with you guys. But if you want to purchase tickets, you do get a discount. If you're a member of our community, visit nftxlv.com. You can download their mobile app. You can see all the exhibitors, the speakers. And if you are not able to make it, I believe they're doing a live stream as well. So you can tune in online. I will be hosting some of those panels, some of those interviews. So it's going to be a fun time. Super excited for that. Forrest, anything you want to say or add or leave us with before we leave everyone?
No, I think you covered it. It's nice to be getting a bounce in crypto. Lots to be bullish on in the future, but I don't think we're out of the woods yet. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I think I urge some caution. Always have some dry powder in case you get some good deals, due to some flash crashes or anything like that. But otherwise, just be paying attention to this Bitcoin ETF decision. That's really. I sound like a broken record, but that's what's mattered the most recently, and what matters the most in the next couple of weeks for crypto prices. Strongly believe that. So just keep an eye out. Keep tuning into Sin City Crypto.
Okay. Also, guys, go check out our merch store as well. Where you'll find not only crypto merch or Sin City Crypto merch, but you'll find other merch as well, like from some of your favorite projects like Shiba Inu and Ethereum, Cardano, XRP. I am dropping. Someone asked about the Radix link, so I'm going to drop it in there. Yeah, it's in the chat. RadixDLT.com if you want to learn more about the ecosystem. And so great show today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Big thank you to Forrest. We have Forrest and a special guest tomorrow. There's going to be 3 of us. It's one of our favorites. I'm not going to say who it is. It'll be a surprise. So make sure to come back tomorrow. With that being said, Rocco.
Let's go.
Guys, thank you again. We appreciate you. On behalf of all of us here at Sin City Crypto, we love you guys. Until tomorrow, stay safe. Peace.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy a dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming hola till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't I? Don't be letting FOMO